Oh, there was lots in this year's forum. So there's probably, Amy Edmondson, I think, on psychological safety, really interesting at this moment in time in particular, where I think there's a sense broadly in a lot of parts of the HR profession in particular that some of the psychological safety of their very work is being removed right now. So this interesting piece, one of the things I found fascinating about her frame, I think a lot of people, particularly when they've coined a term that's fundamentally changed thinking, often make that the main event. Whereas Amy was the first to tell us psychological safety isn't the goal. The goal is whatever your business is working on. Is it safety improvement? Is it customer experience? Is it getting a project done at a faster completion rate? That's the goal. Psychological safety is the pathway. So that for me was a bit of a reframe in the way that I think I see a lot of people applying that term, and probably part of why it doesn't get the traction in some contexts that I think it needs to. The second thing was probably Eric and Kiana's conversations around the kind of information density idea. So this notion of just how powerful recognition is, because it's crowdsourced, because it's providing you with a range of, particularly when you power it with AI and kind of get that perfect harmony, insights into what's really going on in your organisation, and potentially illuminating things that you really didn't appreciate, that you undervalued, or that you need to pay attention to. So that for me is something I'm definitely going away and thinking about more deeply. Maybe not unique, but I think the way that the speakers brought it to life was probably actually the customer panel. I thought it was fantastic to have 3 speakers who were so prepared to be very honest on behalf of large brands and organisations about where they're at in their journey, how they're going with their learnings, and the things that have prompted them to embrace recognition as part of their business strategy. I just thought there was an invaluable conversation for people that are grappling with this idea of recognition at work. Does it drive impact? What does it look like to get people on board? How do you make a case in a large multinational organisation? All of that and more was unpacked, I think, so brilliantly by people who self-described and were a little bit nervous about the fact they weren't the professional speakers of the day, but I thought they were one of the highlights. There's probably tips for all of that in every talk, but I think to pick up where David Green finished the day, really around the importance of HR leaders as storytellers. And interestingly, there was a sort of self-assessment done in the room, which kind of benchmarked in around about the middle for how well the profession right now see themselves as doing storytelling. Stories are 22 times more memorable than data, but it's only when you combine stories with data that you get the behaviour change. And so really that encouragement to start thinking differently around how are we storytellers in this moment, what's our role in influencing, what critical piece does data play in that might not have been as much at the forefront of how we've told stories previously. I think there's a lot in that for people to think about in their role as HR leaders. I think it's those practical little things. One of the things I loved about both Amy's presentation, but also what Kiana kept bringing us back to in the panel conversation, was that reflection of what have you done this week? Have I taken a moment to recognise a colleague this week? Have I thought about how I've invited questions? Have I thought about how I've shown up when I've been challenged or been given a bit of challenging feedback? So I think those micro reflections, if we could make a discipline of asking ourselves those reflective questions once a week, I think that nudge, that micro nudge in our own behaviour and what that would then role model in our organisations would make a significant shift.